if you're not already live, yeah.
Okay, it says I'm live.
Okay, cool. All right, I'll see you in about 5 minutes, bro.
Okay.
Thanks. everyone's doing well out there. Welcome back to Forever Conscious Research Channel, and happy Saturday to each and every one of you. Before we get started, I just want to let everybody know who's a member of the Last Timers Club. We have our monthly members live stream tomorrow, Sunday, July 31st at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I look forward to seeing some of you there. So now I'd like to move along and get into tonight's topic and discussion. Tonight we have Dan from OverWatchChannel and OverWatchProject.com. He's going to be joining us for, I believe this is our 6th discussion or 5th, and I'm really looking forward to this one. This was an independent video I wanted to do for a while, and I did a short one, I don't know, last year or the year before sometime, and I was in the car. It was maybe about 15 minutes long, and I really think it's important to go into more detail about the intentional human body design flaws and how Loosh fits in like a glove to all of this. So without further ado, I would like to bring Dan onto the channel. Dan, it's great to have you with us again, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Welcome.
Hey, Mark. Can everybody hear me okay? Am I good?
All right. Dan, sound good, my friends? I'm sure you're good. I checked the levels before we started, so I think they were okay. And
Okay.
we'll just continue, and if something pops up, then we'll just adjust accordingly.
Okay. So Mark, have you ever read a book? It's a big book, but you don't even need this book. You could just use your common everyday observations and experience as a human being. But there's a really good book, Humans Are Not From Earth, written by Dr. Ellis Silver.
I didn't read the whole thing, but I do have a copy of it. I've gone through some of it, yes. Okay, actually, I think you're the one that recommended that years ago.
Yeah. I did. Yes. Yep. Yeah. So if anybody out there does happen to look for this book or download it on Kindle or Google Play or wherever you get your books from, it's very important that you check for the second edition, not the first edition, because in the second edition, he takes all the criticism that people try to blow off his theory, and he addresses each criticism in detail. So with a lot of data to back it up. So so that's important. But you don't even need that book. This is a giant book. The guy spent probably a really long time cataloging all the flaws with human beings, our genetic coding, the genetic coding problems we have. But you don't even need it. Just everyday
common sense
experience, common sense observation of the human condition. We are clearly out of place with Earth's environment, physically speaking. Mm-hmm. Right? We can't just go out and survive.
Just think about the temperature problem. I mean,
just
that
so horrible.
I mean,
either too hot or too cold. You might have some places that are temperate, that have more mild climate, but it's a very tiny part of the planet, and it doesn't always last all year long. But just the frailty, weakness of nature, everything that we haven't tampered with. And what I mean by, things that we haven't tinkered with ourselves. Obviously, dogs, domesticated cats, everything that we have taken and bred out traits from these animals, like dogs, for example, retain a lot of their nature, but they have been altered by us over time.
Mm-hmm. And that's proven. I mean, the genetics have proven that humanity their gene pool has been edited and messed with.
Yeah, we have our the fused chromosome. The But just in general, I mean, if we were just natural to Earth, then you wouldn't need any technology or tools. You'd be able to just go out and survive. But you throw even the most well trained person, that, you know, like a Navy SEAL, into the wilderness with absolutely nothing, and maybe they could survive, but it's not easy, and it's only because they've spent years training on how to do it. Nature's creatures have just an instinct on how to do it. They don't need any schooling or instruction.
Mhm.
They just fit in, right? They're either a predatory type creature like a lion, or more of the prey like the gazelle. They all have their traits. They all know how to survive. They don't need any help. They don't need any technology. They don't need any
It's
tools.
embedded into them.
Right. They have their weapon systems and a way to avoid predators, all designed into the system. Probably Robert Monroe's description of the Loosh whole Loosh story. It talks a lot about that design, that, you know,
Mhm.
plant eaters eat the plants, and then the meat eaters eat the plant eaters. And that was the initial, like, probably the dinosaur concept of the first Loosh farm. And then that wasn't really producing what quality they wanted, so they scrapped it and probably had very different versions of humans until they finally settled on us. But even if, you know, like we were talking before, even the Sumerian text, it was like a sloppy, it's like a couple of drunk gods, you know, and they're making all these shitty designs, and then finally they decide these are good enough. You know,
Yeah,
these are
yeah. We'll give him like the middle shitty body experiment, I guess.
right. Our eyes aren't even you know, are harmed by blue light. You know,
Oh,
we have all these traits that don't fit in here.
I
Um,
know. I have glasses. I mean, it sucks that you have to wear glasses. I mean, and I was born with that. Do you have sight issues?
I was lucky enough to have 20/20 vision until I was in my 40s. Then it
So that
went
means you're perfect then.
no, no, no. I see. I
Just
had
messing with you.
major, other problems. And even if you, and unless you're like really, really lucky. I mean, there are some genetic roulette out there where people are just born and they just have so many things. They're not going to get sick easily. I mean, there's some people that don't get cavities, right?
Hmm.
I had a lot of teeth problems. My
Same.
um, I've had other problems, inflammation problems. As you well know, I'm dealing with some
An
joint
injury.
problems. Yeah,
Mhm.
joint problems right now, injury. Um, and it doesn't take much to break a human being if you get struck in the right place by, you know, even like 7 or 8 pounds of force, you can be completely incapacitated.
That's yeah, that's the biggest thing is that it doesn't take much. Doesn't
Doesn't
take
take
much
much, right?
to get completely debilitated or, at least and then you have injuries that last a lifetime. I mean, you might be able to recover on some, but then you have others that, you can be stuck with for a lifetime.
Yeah, right. Yes. So you're easily injured. You're frail. Just about anything out there. If you are like in that TV show Naked and Afraid.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
that's a classic example. Just watching these people try to survive. I mean, I happen to have a couple of birds that have decided to park themselves under overhang of my house now for and build a nest. Okay, a couple of I think they're like some type of dove or something.
Dude, are
And
you talking like right outside your house?
yes,
Oh,
I walk by them, and they seem to have determined that I'm not a threat to them, so they kind of like are on alert when I'm there, but do anything. They just gotta
That's
watch me.
that's crazy because just had a okay. So there's I don't want to drone on too much about this, but I find it funny that you're kind of experiencing something similar because I am too. There's a we have a nest right outside on a tree. It's like as soon as you walk outside, I take the dog out all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and the bird. There's been this nest there. It's been I would say there for maybe a couple years, 2, 3 years, and most of the birds come and they'll park their ass there for a little while. And because it's a high traffic zone with the dog and me coming in and out so much, they usually take off. They'll hang out there for a couple days and call it a night and leave. But over the last couple weeks, there is a couple in the tree, and they just laid eggs, or the mother just laid eggs. And same thing, like I'm talking really nice to it and making sure it doesn't feel it's threatened and things like that. But I find it funny that you're kind of experiencing something somewhat similar. Do you have a
Yes,
nest
it's
out there? Or?
they're building a nest, and they what's funny is it's the area where I let the dogs out, right? So now my dog, one of my two dogs, well, they're both kind of like, they lock on to things like rabbits
Mm-hmm.
and rats if they see any
Yes.
movement outside, and they get very aggressive. Now, somehow, dogs to me are they have a some kind of a deep spirit or soul
I
that they have.
agree.
My dog has realized that the bird is there, that the birds are there, okay, inside their area, but almost like she understands that it's, oh, I'm just gonna, and she doesn't do anything. She doesn't bark at them. She doesn't growl at them. She doesn't try to climb up the wall. I get to them. Now there have been rabbits that have come into the yard, and she will try to kill them. There have been, occasionally the Florida rat that will walk into the backyard. She has tried to kill them. She's tried to tear apart the rain gutter to get to like a rat that escaped with the rain gutter. Um, but she looked at them, and I said, "No, leave them alone." And she just ignores them now.
Wow. Yeah,
Why is it?
my dog's the same way. She'll go after rabbits, squirrels. She is the lizards constantly all over those things. Uh, the birds, I mean, not the one that's outside the door, but there's some kind of like on an island garden with some trees, and they always get her bugged out, but she doesn't really go after them. Um, the bird is certainly has its guard up, though. The one that put the nest, is
Oh
living in
yeah,
that nest. It's like, what the hell's going on with
yes.
this dog?
Same here. So, but here's the thing: the birds, okay, they're able to do all this with just what they have on their body. They don't need they don't need any assistance from anything. They somehow will design this nest. They know exactly what to do, how to do it, and they can handle all this without hospitals, without doctors,
Yes.
without. I mean, humans have had. Let's face it. I mean, you can't. The sun is trying to irradiate you to death. The natural blue light of Earth is hostile to our vision. The None of this makes any sense. Foods that taste good are bad for you,
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
right? Um, why on earth would that be? Why? um, we have all these genetic defects that are like all over the place. We have an incredible weak and frail body that seems to be constantly struggling against Earth's gravity. Just the gravitational pull versus the your bone structure. Our feet are poorly designed. Um,
And sensitive.
and sensitive. We don't have any like functional like other animals. They whatever they use for weapons, it's like built into their body, right? So birds have like talons, and
Yeah.
they can use their beaks. They instinctively know how to attack efficiently if they get into a confrontation with something. Same thing with lions and or wolves. Um,
Yeah.
you ever wrestle with your dog, Mark? You ever like play
Yeah,
wrestle
I
with them?
mess with her. Yeah.
Yeah, and now
Was
you ever
tug of
notice
war.
how yeah, you ever notice how a dog will be able to kind of outsmart you when you're fighting with them or
Oh
play
yeah, yeah.
tug of war? So
Instinctual.
instinctual, like things like going with your movement instead of against it. That's something that humans have to be trained to do. You know,
That is
either martial arts or something. You have to learn how to do that.
such a
Um,
great point, man. That was
yeah, I mean,
oof,
just the instinct to do
massive.
something like that, to go with the motion of your opponent, is totally counterintuitive to a human. If somebody is pulling you, your reaction is to pull back. Just the amateur, untrained person. If somebody grabs you and pulls you, the person will want to pull back away. And when you take up like a martial arts or something, they break that instinct and they go, no, you got to go with them.
Mhm.
You throw them off balance by moving with them. And my dog does that without being told how to do it. And my dog is a tampered with creature of Earth that we have, caused to be. It doesn't have the full canine wolf or the raw natural canine,
Mhm.
untampered with. But that's amazing. But just the fact that you just can't go out and exist. You need all this stuff. You need clothing. I mean, if you don't have clothing in some places, you'll die.
Yeah.
You'll freeze to death. Or if you were in some places, you'll die of heat exhaustion.
Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous how the elements could swing us one way or the other. And I just want to rewind briefly to when you were talking about birds too. On
Mm-hmm.
the trailer video for the channel, I think it was titled like "What's the point of all this?" or something. I brought up how if a bird uh, is flying around, they can pick a tree and that's their home, and be content with that. And if there's another bird or family of birds already in the tree, they'll just go and pick another freaking tree. Whereas with humans, it's always like this ridiculous battle, this psychological thing. And of course, then you can throw in the whole money aspect of it. But putting that aside, just the fight for land and space when there's all of this space around here. For some reason, we can't figure that out, but birds can, and other species too.
Right,
Man.
territory
Mm-hmm.
in the animal kingdom is decided by natural rules
Yep.
that animals instinctively know. They don't need any lawyers. They don't need any law books. We have this kind of. Uh, I mean, I've said this before. I don't know if I ever said it on your channel. If you take the like the creation story as early as you can get it from the mythologies, which would be like the Sumerian version, and if you study all the other um, things that came after that, and of course like the Loosh account stuff like that, by definition, based on how we're supposedly made in these loose accounts that have some truth and probably a lot of mythology and storytelling in there. Humans are technically demigods, right? We are
Yep.
a creation that has some kind of part of us that gives us this added awareness of our awareness. Other animals are just aware, but they don't have this added thing where they can analyze their own awareness like we can. And we
So
seem to
true.
be able to do this. This causes us both great abilities, but also great dilemmas because we're shielded from knowing the true nature of the universe because we're lied to, and we're easily lied to.
Easy. It's
Lied to
so
because
absurd how easy it
right.
is.
Let me tell you something I found out today. I never heard of that. You'll get a kick out. So
Sure.
there was a YouTube video on my YouTube feed this morning. It was it was a 5-minute video from one of those mystery revealed channels. I think it's
Okay.
actually an offshoot of BuzzFeed or something like that.
Well, that's not
And
good.
yeah, it's not good, but every now and then nuggets,
Of course. Of
yeah,
course. Yeah.
come on. So this is a
I'm
really
sorry. I just
short
had to
video.
get that dig in.
Yeah, no, yeah, sure. There was a short video about this conspiracy that birds aren't real.
Oh, don't even. Oh, okay.
No,
Yes.
no,
I'm
wait,
aware
wait,
of
wait,
this.
wait. You're aware of this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this was actually not a actual thing. It was an actual a guy started this as a joke.
Mm-hmm.
He apparently was somewhere where a bunch of people were protesting around the inauguration time around 2017, and he was trying to get work done or something. He was being irritated by these people that were protesting with all their signs. So he decided to go out there and just write something ludicrous. Because I take it he wasn't really political. He wanted all these political people to look like idiots. So he went out there with this sign that said "Birds aren't real." He just wrote it down. It didn't really mean anything. And then people started asking him about it, and he made up a bunch of BS. And of course, this took off. It went like viral on its own. He's got a website now. He says sells merchandise. He openly admits that he just made it up. Plus, you can just observe that birds are real. You can go get chicken at the store. You can go to a pet store and buy a bird. You can get really close to birds in some places, like where we live down here in Florida. Some of them are very used to humans, and they will be, you can even befriend birds. There's even videos on how to make friends with ravens and crows because they're really smart.
Yeah, you can get to the
And
point where you can feed them right out of your hand, and
right,
all sorts of things. Yeah.
and yet, despite the fact that this is completely ludicrous, some people have actually bought into it and actually have, subscribed to this theory that birds aren't real. And so you think about that, and then you think how easily people can be fooled when you're not even trying to fool them, and then think of the manipulation that professionals use in the media and entertainment and news and psyops, and how the military is perfected. I mean, the military has a whole division, psychological operations.
Yeah, I've almost put that as the location in my YouTube videos before, just to
Right.
just to troll them. But
The
I was like,
psyop.
nah, I'd rather not bring attention to that.
And I mentioned before, we have this horrible condition known as counterintuitiveness, which is totally ridiculous. Nature would not produce any of this stuff. Now, I don't know if there's two separate. There's so many things we don't know, but was there like two separate creations of Earth? Like as a human, are the human avatars that host our spirits? Was that created completely separate from the rest of Earth nature, or was it was the designers like the same? I don't know. I don't think they were the same because it seems to me like in the earliest myths, like the Sumerian myths, they don't seem to indicate that they were tinkering around or creating all these other animals. It was like the human being was their focus. Actually, just creating a slave. It was about creating a servant.
Making sure everything is manufactured in a certain way, and that it's set up for misery and suffering, or suffering, I should say.
It is. All these other philosophies that try to explain suffering. Probably Buddhism takes it more seriously than some of these other ones. But they don't. They all fall short, and their explanation is ridiculous. The level of suffering.
100%. They always fall short. Anything that's mainstream will always fall short. Especially something like Buddhism, Hinduism, Gnosticism. They all still fall short. I mean, even though they have tons of core truths inside of them, they're still derailing in a huge way.
Occasionally, I send you a news clipping of some kind of horrific, tragic event, and I always tagline it with, remember, it's all about love.
It's all about love. It's love, baby. It's love. The whole family gets mowed down. It's all about love. It's a spiritual lesson,
Yeah, it's a lesson. Yeah. And yet when these people have these near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences, pre-birth memory experiences, they have these moments where supposedly they have the ability to know everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then at the same time, they're told that you have to go back to learn this or that. And it's so frustrating that nobody stops at that point and go, why do I need to learn if I know everything?
I'm so sick of the apologists, the Stockholm syndrome on steroids mentality. It drives me out of my mind. It just it's like, okay, you just want to excuse everything away and not question things. Okay, fine, I'm moving on. I'm not gonna mess with this anymore. I just don't care.
It's extremely frustrating because it's like that news story I told you about a few days ago, where that woman gets evicted out of her apartment, and she has a couple of cats, I think, and she ends up living in her van, and her life is deteriorating. And then eventually, even though she was finally a family member from a different state, was going to send her money so she could get her van fixed, so she could make a drive cross country to live with them, and then she ends up dying because she didn't seek medical attention, and she was getting sicker and sicker living in her van. And then you think about it. You think about all these different religions. At least the materialist has an out because they don't actually believe in it.
Yeah, they're just completely shut off from anything outside of themselves. Yeah.
But with all these religions, and they have to try to prop up this notion of a loving deity. Like the thing where what was it last week? All these buildings burned to the ground, but there's a cross standing.
Yeah.
Church is incinerated. Everything's incinerated. People's lives have been destroyed. But then there's a cross standing, and that is a miracle.
No, it's a miracle.
Just
the cross is still there, ready and waiting.
No, most people have, a moral compass, even though it's clouded by all these stupid rules and arbitrary dogmas that they subscribe to. But they have some kind of internal moral compass that because their spirit is not evil. We just exist in an evil world. And in avatars, these bodies that degrade us. And then
early childhood development plays such a key role in that too, and then the intergenerational trauma that's passed down.
Yeah, it's horrible. And then people die in that state, and then they carry it over into the afterlife.
Yeah,
and that's how easily subjugated they are. And then the whole thing is like, let's suppose, hypothetically speaking, you could just put yourself in the place of a higher being, some deity level being. You see somebody suffering like that. How do you stand by and not help them out?
Yeah. How do you allow it to continue to happen? Yeah. I mean, how is it not fixed? How is it not edited properly so that, at least there's some reduction in this amount of suffering that we're seeing? It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, especially when it's like a hard. I mean, some of this stuff is just ridiculous. How do you not step in? Do you not have compassion, empathy?
Yeah.
Do human beings have more compassion than deities? In the Matrix here, and apparently they do, and because our compassion is used against us, suffering probably produces a lot of great loosh.
That is such a great point, because yes, we are taken advantage of in a big way. Our good-hearted, kind nature is taking advantage of us to the max, and it's one of the biggest things that drives me up the wall, because everybody wants to be good, or at least most people want to be good. They care. They care about themselves, they care about their family, they care about Earth, they care about, their friends at work, and their boss and stuff like that, and most of the time, and in turn, that can be taken advantage of, and we see that happen, at the time of death too. I mean, that's the extent that all this goes too. So it's not just while we're here, obviously, that, but it's just we're taking advantage of our good-hearted, and kindness is taken advantage of so much. It's horrible. It's horrible. I mean, you can't think of a more perfect setup than what's going on. It's really well thought out.
Right. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these people in that do like the anti-status type videos, or anarcho type philosophies that don't want any, no rulers, no slaves, that type of mentality. When they ask people that believe in like a ruling class moral questions, you find out that most people internally don't agree with all the evils of the world. Yep. They have this like they have this cognitive dissonance problem where they're able to float around these opposing ideas and think that they make sense somehow.
That's so well said. Yeah, I completely agree. And everything is always rooted in quote unquote the greater good, safety, and all this other stuff. Meanwhile, we have so many atrocities going around all over the world, modern day slavery and all this other stuff. And, how many people go to the store and buy clothing that is literally made in sweatshops today? I mean, that's going on like right now. And so, I know I don't want to rant too much about this, but this is something that's happening, and people choose to ignore it. A lot of people know it's happening, and yet still knowingly choose to fund these sweatshops, these slavery rigs that's going on with these massive corporations. So the only thing I could suggest for something like that, and this is what I try to stand by, is, okay, you buy your clothes at a thrift shop. So yeah, maybe the piece of clothing was initially, we don't know the origins of these clothes. We don't know the origins of a lot of the things we get. But, for instance, you go to a thrift shop, consignment shop, whatever, you get secondhand clothes, at least you know that you're not funding them right now. You're getting it secondhand. Someone else wore the shirt or the pants or the shorts or whatever. And you wash them, you clean them, and you just hope that you're not making things worse or aiding in anything. Even though, yeah, there's still that loose connection there. Because
Sure,
that even bothers me, Dan. Even that bothers me. Knowing that, I may buy a shirt that, is from a company that, is practicing in slavery right now. I mean, like, that kills me, even if I'm getting it secondhand. But,
yeah, there's
I don't know.
yes, even the whole thing you mentioned, big corporations. The interesting thing is that a lot of these counter arguments that people come up with, like who will build the roads. One of the ones that they use a lot is, well, if you get rid of like rulers and governments, then we'd have like this corporate tyranny, right? They tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
But in fact, that's not correct, because corporation is a legal entity that has been created by government regulations. So they wouldn't exist either. See, so, and I don't want to get sidetracked into like,
no, yeah, I know we can go off on a tangent about all that.
But
the more like this conversation goes on, the more I think it may be good for us to maybe do 2 parts in this, because
I'm just
this is a huge topic, massive.
Yeah, because all of this ties into human suffering, because we have to because we can't exist naturally in nature like other creatures. What's a good movie to watch to show how out of place we are is actually the Jurassic Park movies.
Oh.
First of all, the movies have this interesting like mental a philosophical experiment. What if we brought back dinosaurs, right? What would happen? Well, first you find out that not only is those movies showcase just how puny and weak humans are, right? How easily they can, a group of raptors can take out everything in their path, and how massive some of these animals were based on their bones that we found and everything. But in some of them, I don't know if you've seen the new movies.
No, I have. I've seen, I think, 2 or 3 Jurassic Parks. I haven't seen the most recent one.
It just, if you just watch it with the how out of place we are with nature kind of thing, in a mental experiment with dinosaurs. I mean, it's very interesting because we are. There's a movie with Liam Neeson, actually, even a better example. Have you ever seen the movie The Gray?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay, it's a simple movie, very simple plot, but it's kind of a dark movie with kind of a dark ending. But basically, Liam Neeson and these other guys are, how they hunt wolves in some of these areas like Alaska to protect, farming cattle or whatever. They mitigate the excessive predator prey imbalance that we probably have caused. But they hunt wolves to thin out the wolf herd, and there's a plane crash, and then the wolves start hunting them, the hunters. The whole movie shows you just how incredibly, the wolves, this is like there's sub-zero temperature, snow. It's a great movie to show just how weak we are, how nature will kill you if it gets the chance. If you encounter, a pack of wolves, how easy it is for them to pick you off one at a time or all at once.
They're calculative too, the way they approach things.
Right. And I mentioned Naked and Afraid, if you want to watch so pathetically out of place we are. Lloyd Pye, remember him?
Yeah.
He passed away from cancer. but his videos are still on YouTube. I think they're titled generally something like "Everything You Think You Know Is Wrong." But the thing he goes over about the human condition, I mean, that's another great. If you're interested in something like that, he has like an hour and a half presentation he used to do at these UFO and Bigfoot type conferences, and or these different mystery conferences that people would go and attend. He had a really good presentation. When you listen to him explain some of this stuff and show you that slideshow he would show you, you walk away with that. And you're like, yeah, we are definitely out of place here. But he bought into the whole Sitchin thing. You have to watch out because there's a lot of misinformation.
Yeah.
A lot of people bought in.
That's the
A lot
problem.
of people. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what bugs me is how easily, he's been debunked for quite a long time about his faulty, purposeful translations, and I feel that if someone's going to talk about the topic, they better do their damn research, and if something is wrong, it should be corrected. And
you mean about the Sitchin?
Yeah.
About
I mean,
that's
just it's simple. That's the way it should be. I mean, you can't be citing him and going along with it and not be oblivious that the translations are wrong. I mean, wouldn't you think that the basic grounds for looking at something like that would be like, okay, well, if this person is telling me that it says this, and that, then I'm going to go to the source and I'm going to look at it and I'm going to say, okay, is that what is being said?
Exactly. That's exactly
what I'm saying?
What I did. Yeah. Exactly what I did. As soon as I found out that you can access all of this tablet information, which I linked to in the link section on my website, OverWatchProject.com, there's 2 different or 3 different sources for a lot of the Sumerian tablet libraries. And you can just read through the translations yourself. And when you read through it, I mean, some of these words he used doesn't even exist in there.
Yeah.
Not there. Not there at all. The meanings that he had are completely different, and you can read them, and it's not that there's not a lot of interesting information in the Sumerian writings because they're so old. But again, like I've told you before, I think that they may be the oldest myths that we have that get us closer and closer to the truth. Further back you can go, and you can see how these things get corrupted. The Sumerian stuff gets transferred over to the Babylonians. They alter it. The Akkadians alter it. The Canaanites alter it. The Israelites alter it. And each time it gets altered for political and other religion purposes. And then you get further and further away from the original story. And the Sumerians may have had a version that they altered.
Yep.
But theirs is very fascinating because the reason for creating the human being was to be a slave worker.
Yep. And that's what we deal with. I mean, it couldn't be more obvious.
No, we have like a capacity, this crazy capacity to allow ourselves to be subjugated constantly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I want to pivot back to the human body a little bit, because I mean, just think about if you're a woman with childbirth. I mean,
painful.
it's you have a narrow pelvis and you have a child coming out of there. I mean,
yeah,
come on. I mean, we're not women here, but I mean, I could just, I mean, you look at women having children and it looks like a nightmare, an utter nightmare.
Sure. If you were a compassionate, empathetic deity designing a physical vessel for spirits to incarnate into, Is this the design you would make? Is this what you would make? Would you make all the pain we have to go? And not only that, how we age.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
The way we get old.
Oh, yeah.
The way that our bodies basically just start falling apart. At best, you have 20 peak years if you're a really healthy human. And then it just starts going down. Right?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, you got your childhood, you're relatively healthy then, and
And we're
you got
ignorant and
about 20
stupid.
years in your adulthood. Yeah. If
Yeah,
that.
and we're ignorant and stupid from birth on until you decide that you want to put in the effort to not be ignorant and stupid.
Yep.
Otherwise, most people are really happy to just go along with whatever they're told.
Yeah.
Or whatever distraction. I mean, how far back in history can we go? I mean, the Romans used to have the bread and circuses, right? Just keep them distracted. Everything's good.
Just keep waving the carrot in front of their face on the stick, and they'll just go along with everything. Yeah.
Right, and I think it all ties together. So humans have short lifespans. We're incredibly challenged because the brain, as Rupert Sheldrake says, is a reducing valve. Something he says without putting a negative connotation on it. I find that amazing. It's a reducing valve for consciousness.
Yep.
Why would I want my consciousness reduced to this pathetic level? Don't know. But then you have a short lifespan with an incredibly reduced conscious awareness. You have physical suffering because your spirit is your non-physical being is tied into the physical avatar, so you have to put up with all this pain, suffering, and then however way when you check out of here, do you get some kind of illness, die early, get run over by a bus, get die of old age? And I've seen enough. I've seen relatives of mine, die of old age, and eventually end up in hospice. And it is a incredibly painful thing to watch. Let alone to think that someday that'll be you, one way or the other. You're going to be checking out of here, and then all of that trauma and all of the BS that you're taught, and then it's clearly obvious, right, from the NDEs and from the out of body experiences that we carry that over immediately into the afterlife. So whatever we were thinking here follows us. I think that's the hook. That's the reincarnation hook.
Totally with you on that one. Yep.
Yeah, so the reincarnation hook is when you get over there, at first you're kind of confused and you are carrying whatever luggage that you built up on Earth in the incarnation you were just in, and then there's like 1,001 ways to manipulate you at that point.
I mean the fact that they come barreling at us, right when we leave here, or in other cases where deathbed visions, visitations, premonitions leading up to death, and how they're trying to lure people in before they've even freaking left here. I mean, it's that's a whole nother conversation in and of itself. But
I would just like to hear one near-death experience or question instead of just submit.
Not gonna see it. Not gonna see it.
It's amazing to me because it's like you have an incredibly because it starts at birth, right? You have the way it's designed is your parents become your first authority figures.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're surrounded by authority, concept of authority from then on, and school, from government, from wherever, and then you die, and then you encounter something that presents itself as an authority. So now you're likely to obey without questioning anything. And my idea is my mindset is, okay, here on Earth in the physical body, I'm coercible because I have, I'm tied into this body, surrounded by things that affect me. I have to eat. I have to survive here as best I can until then. But then when I'm checked out of the body, I don't need any of this stuff anymore. I don't need technology. I don't need food. In that case, I'm more like the natural animals of Earth, right? They don't need anything. You become like the wolf or the lion at that point. And it's only like your belief that you are not that keeps you in line. You need to purge that out of your subconscious. You need to be prepared that when you do finally check out of here, you have this, and the longer you can stay here, the longer you can clean out your subconscious, the better shot I think you have of never having reincarnation problem here.
Yeah, I really think it's all about shedding that subconscious and realizing the power that it yields over us, and saying, okay, I don't need this bullshit anymore. Go on, bye bye, and release it. You know,
Yeah.
it's use that intention, the creator being abilities within to shed obviously the physical bodies first, and but along with that is that etheric, astral, subconscious body, I guess you can call it that. Constantly has us programmed into the background unknowingly or
Right.
partially
I mean, just
knowingly.
yeah, talking about bad design or intentionally bad design, from when you're born till you're about 7 years old, you have this condition. That's why people have a hard time remembering things before they're 7, because you're literally in a what they call hypnagogic state, which means you are basically half hypnotized all the time. You're programmable. So people people get all this garbage information in there. It's like a computer, garbage in, garbage out, and you just raw programming data is going in there from birth to about 7 years old. So if you're told a whole bunch of trash, you grow up and get told all this garbage information that is embedded into your subconscious,
Yep.
like
There's
a
a good
program.
chance you're not going to get out of it.
Right. So what you have to do is keep affirming. You know, your conscious mind can overwrite all this stuff. You just have to keep affirmations. Keep telling yourself positive messages that cancel all this other nonsense out.
So
When you
true.
die, you're a pure individual. You don't belong to any group. You don't belong to any thing that's going to anchor you or tie you down. You are your own like singularity, your own universe, and then you can. Then there's really nothing that can control you at that point. Certainly, they
Yeah.
can't make you feel guilty. Or I can't wait to if they try to give me a life review. That'll be hilarious.
Nah, dude. Honestly, Dan, the way I look at this, like the life review just simply isn't allowed. I'm having some further evolutions on all this, and I'm saying, okay, even though I say, oh, it's simply not allowed. I also am going a step further and saying I don't believe in reincarnation. I don't believe in the light. I don't believe in the tunnel. I don't believe in life. I don't believe any of this bullshit. It's not allowed to exist. Period. The end in my reality. And just
that
putting
will
that out there, cutting it
yeah.
off. So the opportunity, I also don't believe in being interfered with or messed with until, I have had my time to do whatever I need to do. And then I will interact with something, maybe, but
Sure.
only until I, clear the air and get right with myself.
Yep, absolutely. So you don't even, I mean, yeah, but if they do, if somehow you get stuck, I mean, I would turn all that back around on them like a really irritating lawyer. Like everything that I did out of ignorance or
Mm-hmm.
out of this or out of that was that's your fault. You designed it that way.
Yep.
It's not my fault.
You're the one that gave this shit system and shit body
Yeah.
and shit
If you guys,
subconscious.
yeah, if you guys are actually in charge, should have done something about that, dumbass. It's like it's like that scene. I don't know if you ever see that movie, Law Abiding Citizen.
I'm familiar with the title. I don't think I ever saw it though.
It's a really interesting revenge retribution movie. But there is a part in the movie where Gerard Butler, he's he's under arrest and he's in this jail, and he kind of has he's manipulated. He's the one getting revenge for everything that's done wrong to him. It's very interesting revenge movie. But there's this scene where he's willing to give the DA something that the DA wants in exchange for this really expensive mattress for his cell. And the cop in the background stand there, and he says, "I believe those things are bolted to the floor." And he just looks at him and he says, "That's what wrenches are for, dumbass." I'm like, see, you just turn it around on them. Whatever they say, just send it right back to them. Like
There you
you're
go.
you're you're the dumbass in charge of this fucking shit show. So fix it. Don't look at me. I'm not the one who made it like this. I didn't
Uh,
create it like this. Um,
yeah, they can go screw themselves because they have no power over me or you. Nobody here. It's just they
now
don't
when you
even
go
deserve to be interacted with. Period. Like
right,
they don't even deserve an audience of one, and they're certainly not getting me.
if you ever do like any kind of mental visualization, I was wondering if you experienced this at all. If you ever do like a mental visualization of this going on, like this confrontation that you may have at some point,
Mhm.
and you're asserting your own authority, and do you ever get like a tingling sensation?
I have. I have. Yep.
You have, okay.
Yep. It happened to
Uh,
me a
uh,
few times, not a lot, but I would say maybe about half a dozen times.
okay, so that's interesting. So to me, it almost feels like um, um, they're almost like they can sense what you're doing with your mind, and they're irritated or angry at you or something, or it's almost like an electrical feeling, like a tingling. It's uncomfortable, right?
I agree
You
with the
know,
electrical thing. Yeah, that's exactly what I experienced too.
right? So if I'm imagining in my head, um, okay, so passed on, I encounter this or that, and I just unleash like, get the fuck out of here, bitches. Nobody's messing with me. In my head, I sometimes I get this uncomfortable. It's almost like an uncomfortable feeling, like they're trying to intimidate me, kind of.
Sure. I believe it. I mean, it's they do the same thing if you try to leave your body. I mean, they try to scare you and freak you out and get you to not progress and find yourself.
Right. So what I've done is when that happens now, I push back on that,
Good.
and I've been able to I think like control it, get rid of it.
Nice.
Um, and it it's great practice. I mean, if you want, one of the things you can do out there is you just imagine this happening. You're encountering whatever angelic beings are telling you to follow you to the light, or they want to give you a life review, or this or that and the other thing. I just get kind of pissed off at them and just cast them away.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you can do some really wacky things with your imagination. Like you can turn them into little plastic toys, have them drop down to the floor. I mean, we don't know the limits that we have when you're out of the body and in the spirit realm. I mean, there's plenty of examples out there of what happens when people tinker around in the out of body state. Like they can conjure things up. We can, I mean, even in Earth, right? We have magicians and people that study occult stuff create like thought forms, which I think a lot of this stuff that controls us are our own thought forms.
I agree. That's how I feel.
We end up creating these thought forms because we believe in them, and then they kind of exist because we've made them.
Yeah, we granted permission for them to exist, and they exist within the bubble of the human and I guess you could say the subconscious experience, and can take on a life of their own, but they're kind of like the other side of us and can feel very real. I mean, thought forms is a whole show, in and of itself that we can discuss. I mean, it's crazy how deep that goes. It's a couple things I wanted to just throw in there, like how about like bullshit like biting your tongue and the amount of pain that's involved with that, like the biting your cheeks. I mean, the fact that you can have a blood clot and just kill yourself immediately or die immediately. I mean, just Hey,
here's the thing. Here's something I had to deal with. The thing where you there's like, I think there's like nerves or something underneath the clavicle, and underneath the neck. It's affecting my whole right arm. So I have this constant feeling that my fingertips are falling asleep, or like this fire rushing through my fingers, or my elbow is like tingling, and I have to wait to go to one of these. It's not a chiropractor; it's a different kind of doctor that deals with this kind of thing, and I have to wait until like September because they're so backed up. It takes about an hour of therapy to alleviate the problem, and I had to do some research to find a good one. You have to be careful because you go to some of these places and they'll treat you, but then then you have to keep going back to them. You have to find a good one that wants to really knock it out of you, so you don't have to keep going back to them.
Someone that cares and does their job.
Yeah. So it took me a little while to do some research, but that's a bizarre human flaw. I mean, for crying out loud, to have something, a nerve or something that gets irritated underneath in my neck, and it's affecting my whole right arm. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's totally absurd, and yeah, it's how one thing can affect like a whole side of your body or whatever the case may be, which kind of goes into the next one. I want to talk about the human spines. I think last I remember 80% of people who have neck and back problems, it's just unavoidable. Like it's basically, if you're human, 80% of the population is going to have some sort of back and neck pain at some point in their life, if not extended problems. I mean,
yeah, our bone structure is very weak for Earth.
Ridiculous
for this realm, whatever you want to call it. For the realm of Earth, we there's a certain level of force that keeps pulling us down to the ground, and our bone structure isn't designed. I mean, you look at people as they get older, our bones are collapsing. Their spinal problems and everything from compression. You have to do things like go to a chiropractor, or you have to hang yourself upside down to try to.
Yeah, you gotta use one of those. Yeah.
I mean, or you have to do that thing where you buy that thing where you kind of lay on the ground and it tries to realign your spine by bending backward.
Uh,
Um, you don't see anybody in you don't see any elephants needing that problem, or lions,
oh
or
no.
tigers, or anything like that, or bears.
No, it's
Um,
crazy how that works. It's something I just popped up on the screen. Let me try and get this up. I ran across this on Reddit and I thought it was a great example. Um, I will do a screen share with you here on Zoom so you can see it.
I see it. I
Oh, you
just
see
blew
it?
up.
Okay, yeah. I just need
Yeah,
to get the window right. Hold on one sec. It's a little off, but hold on. Stupid thing.
it's a little blurry for me, but I see it.
Yeah, I know. I gotta zoom in on it a little bit. Hold on. Let's see. Oh, I see what's going on here. Oop. Just here we go. I don't know why it didn't properly pop up, but we'll fix this. There we go. Okay. So yeah, I thought this thread was great. I mean, it's just loaded with stuff. Let me just zoom in a little bit for you.
Oh,
Hopefully
that's
that
better. It's
looks all
getting
right.
better.
Okay, there we go. Okay. So yeah, it's incredible how okay, so yeah, we already talked about the pelvis, females. You know what else? Which is something I'm going to be discussing tomorrow in the members stream is childhood trauma and birth and all that stuff, and how massive a problem it is for the child. And many of us have experienced this. You're born into this world. You're born in a cold hospital under a beaming light. You're immediately a stethoscope, or I always have problems pronouncing that word, but the thing to take your heartbeat
Uh-huh.
is cold. It's on your skin. They're putting it all over you, on your back, on your heart, wherever, on your neck, and it's just torturous things. Then of course there are other things that are also given to the child that really can't be discussed at a
Mm-hmm.
very young age, sometimes right when they're born, and over the course of their early childhood for many years. And and then of course we can even go further and talk about something like circumcision. I know that's not
Yeah,
something we really
sure.
all want to discuss, but think about it. You come into this world and you're going to deal with that. I mean, think about how traumatic that is for the child.
It's
I
all
mean,
trauma.
I mean
Human
that
birth is
is
trauma.
massive, massive.
I don't know if I'm correct, but aren't horses born standing up? I mean, they come out and they
Yeah,
can stand,
yeah,
they can walk.
yeah. I think giraffes too, right? I mean, I know there are certain ones, or at least they fall out, and yeah,
I
like
mean,
the way they're like humans aren't really supposed to give birth the way they do, let alone having being messed with by doctors the second they come out of the mother's
it's yeah,
body.
it's well, I mean, it's not completely easy for some of these animals when they give birth, but it's much different than humans.
Oh yeah, yeah,
They're the whole process is more streamlined, and then of course they can it's a very short time before they can be independent. There's
yep.
the you know the some of them do need a little bit of like uh, sort of like it's something sort of like an education, but it's really like just watch what I do and then you do it. Yeah, this is how you survive out here.
So
Watch, watch,
crazy.
watch, watch how I hunt, and then you hunt. I mean, that's it. That's all they need. This is how we kill our prey, and then we eat lunch.
Ah, this is so sick. So number 7, hip joints are perfectly suited to support human weight. If there were 4 of them or 4 supporting limbs in a biped, the stress causes extremely common hip degeneration, femoral neck fractures in women and older people. How often do you hear of that in a dog or horse?
Exactly.
This is number 7.
Yep. They're the knees. There's one I can relate to.
Knees similarly are not strong enough with the tibial cartilage and 2 legs for human weight. Jumping down and running. If we had 4 legs, it would not be so bad. How often do you see cats with knee problems?
Right. So there's I've learned a lot about what do they call them? Braces.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for if you're dealing with a knee injury.
Knee braces.
Some of the technology, some of the new stuff that's out, you know, it's expensive. Like a lot of athletes, they have knee problems. And these knee braces are the newer high-tech, expensive knee braces have hydraulic systems and springs. And the reason that they have this is when you clamp this on, first there's padding to press alongside the knee joint to keep it aligned properly. And then there's these hydraulic springs and everything. And what they're doing is essentially alleviating all the pressure off of the knee and transferring it to the brace, because the knees are weak and they're not designed to last forever. Yeah. How many older people, once they get into their 50s and 60s, need knee replacement?
Oh, I have a very good friend of mine who had one knee replaced and she has to get the other one done.
Right. And they have to use titanium or some kind of high strength alloy to replace the knee.
Yeah.
And why would that be?
Why would they make something so durable and be able to hold so much weight unless maybe the human body is designed improperly? I mean, come on, it's in our face just with that alone.
Yeah, the knees, the ankles, all the joints, really, the spinal cord, all the pressure that gets put on the spinal cord simply from standing on 2 legs.
Standing, bending over. I mean, just everything. Yeah, it's just designed in such a horrible way. I like number 11 too. Human wrists must extend to provide maximum finger flexing. A major human task is to hold things in our hands. So the wrist flexes 1,000 times a day. Problem is that median nerve runs through a bony trough covered by tough ligaments, the carpal tunnel. With every wrist flexing, the median nerves is pulled in and out of that canal. The canal is easily narrowed by minor injuries or repetitive use. Oh boy, repetitive use of your wrist. The nerve is injured, causing pain, finger numbness, and weakness in thumb opposition.
It's brilliant. This is a great. Where is this from?
This is on Reddit. You know what I'll do? I'll post the link in the chat, and I will also try to email it to you as well.
Yeah, and people, you can get you don't have to be like somebody stuck to a keyboard typing all the time. You can get these carpal tunnel syndromes from simply working with the tools that humans need to use to survive, because we can't just use our hands for things. We have to use things, artificial things to help us.
It's just so sad. It's
I saw the thing earlier about the mouth, the throat. Yeah.
Okay. Let me go back up here.
We choke on food because of the way the whole thing is designed. I think that was one of Lloyd Pye's things in his presentation. He talked about
here we go. Larynx is too highly placed, leading to common choking deaths. Number 4.
Yeah. See, even if you subscribe to some natural design theory, like that, I don't want to say the evolution thing because I think that's complete garbage, but the like say the consciousness that is kind of like the source creator of everything has kind of like projects out maybe a base design for things to exist, but we're outside of that design. Yeah, you know, like other things. If imagine if a planet or a realm, whatever you want to call it, like Earth existed, but there was just natural order of things. Like was here probably. I mean, I don't know. Do you think, Mark? Do you think when the dinosaurs were here originally, there was also humans here? There
I
are some.
really don't know what to make of the whole dinosaur thing in general. You know, I don't know.
My theory is that they were the Loosh generators 1.0 or the beta.
I could see that being a possibility if they existed. I'm
just basing it on Monroe's description. He in his description of the Loosh farm garden creation, the initial carbon-based life forms he describes. When I read it, to me, it sounds like that's dinosaurs. That's primitive, pre-human life. That's a very simple order of things. And when you think about what we're told about them, it kind of fits that, right? So it's a very simple process. You have the immobile plant life, the mobile plant eaters, and then the mobile carnivores, which eat the plant eaters. Simple. I mean, if you're like an amateur making something like, you know, and you're trying to make this Loosh, whatever that is, and you create a simple system of consumption and destruction to generate Loosh, I guess through the suffering, I'm imagining the carnivores eating the plant eaters cause tension, suffering, biological reaction, and then the Loosh they get is crude or bad. That's according to Monroe's account. And then they go back to the drawing board. So what do? They wipe out all the dinosaurs and then they start over. And they have different versions of hominids until they settle on us. That's how I look at it as a theory that kind of fits the whole dinosaur.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's yeah, I listened to that chapter on Loosh, and I think like the different versions, I can't necessarily say anything about dinosaurs per se, but as far as it seems like, you know, I haven't gone through the whole book in a while. I when I did the Loosh episode and covered that specific chapter, it had been a while, and to me it seemed like we were hearing a lot of interpretation about different versions of humanity, even when he was talking about animals. So it just rang true to me that he was more referring to different versions of humans, but also no doubt talking about animals. So it's really tough for me to say because I get a little confused with some of it, to be honest.
It's the one part that struck me the most was when he gives a piece of himself to the carbon base that essentially seems to be the final human.
Sure.
And that, but again, that's somebody telling Monroe something in an out-of-body state. And then we see through those tapes I sent you,
Oh yeah,
how these people just get told a whole bunch of stuff.
yeah.
So
yeah.
again, is that like just like somebody's interpretation of something they heard? This is where Earth came from. This is the garden story. Is it the whole truth? Is it a mythos version of the truth? I mean, I just know that it makes sense when you plug in the state of everything into the reincarnation soul trap, Loosh farm type scenario, then you get all these questions answered that all these other philosophies and religions struggle with or have to use a lot of cognitive dissonance to answer. Now suddenly suffering makes total sense.
Yeah, it fits perfectly. In a ridiculous way. Like
bad human design. Bad human design fits. Yeah. Everything fits. It's like it answers all the questions. There's like nothing that you can argue with that doesn't work into that scenario. Okay. Yeah. So this is a reincarnation soul trap. Bingo. Suffering's explained. The things that we learned about the immediate afterlife explained. Reincarnation with amnesia explained.
Yeah, well said, man. Well said. I know we are kind of we've gone over time a little bit.
Yeah, we're running
so
late. Yeah,
I don't want to hold you up. And
it's getting late.
So I think we should definitely do a part 2 because we really didn't get too. I'd like to go over a little bit more of this list, and I'll email it to you. And also kind of dive into the Loosh aspect, even though we touched on it towards the end of this, I think. So what we'll do is we'll try to schedule a part 2 in the near future. And I really appreciate you coming on tonight, Dan. It's been a lot of fun. And really, thank you so much.
Yeah, and tomorrow, for anybody listening on my channel, I have been asked to do my own videos again.
Yes.
I'm planning on making a short one tomorrow. It won't be long. It won't be a long one, but just something I wanted to discuss and something that I noticed on a couple of clips on YouTube, and I wanted to talk about it. So I'll probably do that sometime tomorrow.
Yeah, and make sure you check out Dan at OverWatchProject.com. And if you check the description tab of this video, you'll also see a long list of links where you can find him. And we will get together again talking soon to do a part 2 on this. And anyone over on Dan's channel, we've been doing a simulcast, I guess you can call it, of both here and Dan's channel. So make sure you go check out Dan here on YouTube and also on Odyssey and BitChute. And I appreciate you coming on tonight, Dan. I'm going to say a few more things, and we will catch up soon. Thanks again, brother.
You're welcome. So I can end the stream now.
Yeah, we're good here. Yep. I will take care of it on your end. Yep.
I'm going to end the stream, and I'm going to end the other call thing.